So there was a guy named A.S. Neal who created a free school in England just over 100 years ago called Summerhill. And the whole premise of Summerhill School was to let children sort of naturally develop and become themselves without any interference from adult authorities, which also helped kids who were transferring to Summerhill from other more institutional schools undo the damage that had been done by teachers or faculty there or by their parents, which we recognize in KI as emotional repression, right? You get conditioned or programmed by teachers or authorities or parents who are in emotional repression and are big on rules into your own emotional repression. So at Summerhill, basically there was no rules, right? You could choose what you wanted to do, even if that meant choosing not to do anything for a while. And this allowed the students of Summerhill, many of whom lived there from ages like 6 to 18, the space to figure out two very important things. One, what they truly wanted, and by extension, two, who they truly are as people. And these are two things that you can't know when you're in emotional repression because you're too busy either following rules and being good to avoid punishment or breaking rules and being bad to get punished. These are the two ways that people get their needs for love and safety met when they're in emotional repression or when they're being raised or conditioned by people in emotional repression. There was a case where A.S. Neal, the headmaster, wrote about a kid who came to Summerhill from another school, and this kid was acting out, right? He was being really antisocial. He was doing things that would have gotten him punished by his parents or by the administration at his former school. But at Summerhill, there was too much freedom, yeah? And the kid didn't know what to do with it. He was like flailing. So Neal had to confront him and say this: "You're screwing around to get me to beat you, yeah? Because your life has been one long beating. But you're wasting your time because I'm not going to punish you no matter what you do." And in that moment, Neal said he watched the kid give up being destructive and antisocial because he no longer needed to feel hateful or to feel hurt or to suffer in order to get his needs met. And that's your classic hurt repressor, right? Acting out or being bad or trying to upset people in order to get their needs met. And though he doesn't outrightly name anger repressors, he talks about how anger repression comes into being too. He says this: "Punishment is always an act of hate. When the teacher or parent is punishing the child, they are hating the child and the child realizes it. The apparent remorse or tender love that a spanked child shows toward his parent is not real love. What the child really feels is anger and hatred, which he must disguise in order to not feel guilty." And this, of course, is the birth of the anger-repressing good boy or good girl who has to pretend in order to get their needs met. So it's great that Summerhill was and is a school that intervenes during the initial conditioning process, right, and short circuits it. You know, by helping kids find their authenticity before they get too deep into their emotional repression. But what about for the rest of us adults? For those of us who were raised with a lot of rules at home or at church or at school by emotionally repressed authorities. Honest to God, until recently, there was only so much that you could do about that. I mean, I tried for 35 years, though I didn't realize it at the time, to find some kind of modality that could help me deprogram and resolve emotional repression. And most of the things I tried actually reinforced my emotional repression and suffering because they left out the fact that emotional repression and the programming that it produces is the root of suffering. And if you resolve it, which you can do, your suffering goes away. Not pain, but suffering and resistance to pain. And that, my friends, is like coming back to life. And that is a large part of why my friend Scott Killaby and I created and developed KI, because we couldn't find another modality that did that to the degree that KI does. It's really powerful. So if you'd like to learn KI and start resolving your emotional repression, then tap the link in the caption of the bio.